We've seen Jaguar pretty much reinvent itself over about the last half decade, going from a failing old luxury brand to one of the heavy hitters in the luxury automotive space. The XJ is still big old luxury though, and this 2014 XJL is even bigger and even more old luxury, but maybe that's okay. Let's hop behind the wheel and check the tech. Now, as I said, the XJ is a big old car. It's the largest vehicle that Jaguar makes right now, and the XJL is even larger. All of that's going to really be happening right here in the midsection, where you get about 4.9 more inches of wheelbase. Even though it's a really big car, it's also a really big, good-looking car. It does have a very athletic, muscular look to it, and I especially like the way that the roofline runs pretty much all the way back to the end of the trunk. It's a gorgeous piece of machinery and the kind of car that people are going to stop you and compliment you on. On the other hand, nobody's going to compliment your Audi. Now here in the cabin, there's nothing that we haven't already seen in another Jaguar or even in another XJ that we reviewed. There are really nice materials all over. The whole dashboard is going to be covered in leather. There's also some nice chrome trim that's good most times of the day. Every now and then the sun will bounce off of that right up into your eye and give you a little bit of glare while you're driving, but also we've got some nice wood trimmer on the dashboard. But every now and then some little bit of cost-cutting cheapness peeks through. For example, these paddle shifters that you'll use to manually select gears on your 8-speed automatic transmission. They shouldn't be made out of cheap hollow plastic that kind of gives you this weird Fisher-Pricey solo cup sound. In a car that costs about $100,000 as equipped, these should be metal. In a $50,000 Infiniti, they would be made out of metal. Now here in the center of the dashboard, we've got Jaguar's touchscreen infotainment system. Again, this is nothing new. We've seen this in previous Jaguar models, and it's starting to show its age, but it's aging pretty well, I think. We've got our three major sections. In the audio video section, we've got our audio sources. We've got our various digital sources, including iPod USB connectivity. We've got Bluetooth audio streaming, and then of course the DVD and CD changer. Getting back to the home screen, we've got the navigation system, which is really crisp. It's got really nice looking maps that render quickly and are easy to read. There are a couple of little nitpicky things about this system that I don't really like. For starters, the voice command system takes entirely too long. Inputting a simple address can sometimes take up to like 2 to 5 minutes. Getting back to the main screen again, the last thing we've got is our phone connectivity, and here you're just going to basically have hands-free calling with context sync and voice command. Now here in front of the driver, we've got our fully digital instrument cluster, and it kind of manifests itself as 3 virtual gauges. If you're in manual mode, you'll see the gears over here. If you're in dynamic mode, the background of the gauges will turn a red to let you know that you're driving with a little bit more zest. You've also got the ability to pop into a menu here and make certain changes to the vehicle and the display settings for the digital instrument cluster. But a lot of automakers are starting to do digital instrument clusters, and they do them in a way that I think is better. To hop in this very expensive Jaguar and just see basically digital chrome next to real chrome, it just looks kind of bad. Now the reason the XJL is about $7,000 more expensive than the XJ happens right here. This is about 4.9 inches of extra legroom that's going to make the back seat a very comfortable place to be. Now this example is also equipped with a lot of extra features that are going to make this seat possibly the best seat in the house. We've got these 10.9-inch dual monitors in the back of the seats that are going to give us access to a lot of infotainment features with this little remote right here. For starters, we can view how far away we are from our current destination. We can adjust the audio source and change our different source right here. Now underneath me, we've also got adjustable seats. That's also an option. Now these 2 back seats are about as adjustable as the ones you'll find on the front row, if not a little bit more. We've got the ability to kind of tilt the backrest forward and back. We've got a recline function that lets me kind of get really comfortable. And then if I need a little bit more leg room, I can even take control of the front seat and push that thing forward from right here in the back seat. Both back seat passengers also have fold out little tables right here that you can use for placing a laptop or eating your lunch. And then we've also got our own sunroof right here on the back row. In the engine bay, we've got Jaguar's 3-liter supercharged V6. Now this engine's good for 340 horsepower, 332 pound-feet of torque. It's a pretty powerful engine, but this is a big, heavy vehicle, so it's not exactly overwhelming, it's simply whelming. In this incarnation, we're looking at 16 miles per gallon in the city, about 24 on the highway, and 19 combined. This is the thriftier of the 2 configurations you can get this vehicle in. Now our example also features Jaguar's all-wheel drive system that's going to give it a little bit more stability in the corners and on slippery surfaces. And in between the engine and that all-wheel drive system is an 8-speed automatic transmission. And as automatic transmissions go, that's a very good one. This one has a sport program and paddle shifters. All right, Audi drivers, I didn't mean to insult your cars, but don't worry. You can still feel a little bit superior knowing that your Audi is a much more technologically advanced vehicle than this XJ could ever really hope to be. This isn't the best performing, most high-tech vehicle that you're gonna find in this price range. The performance from the 3-liter V6 is good, but as I said earlier, not exactly overwhelming. A lot of the good in this powertrain comes from that 8-speed automatic transmission, which upshifts ridiculously quick. The longer wheelbase and all-wheel drive system means that this is a very planted large sedan. It's very difficult to get this thing out of sorts around the corner, but the trade-off there is that you do trade a little bit of the dynamism. This isn't a dancer. You're not gonna wanna take this thing to the track, even though there is a dynamic mode on the powertrain. Now our 2014 Jaguar XJL, remember that's the big one, is at a portfolio trim level here. That's gonna come pretty close to fully loaded at $84,700. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a bunch of options on here. Between the rear seats, the rear seat entertainment, the upgrades to the technology and whatnot, we've got an as-tested price of $101,545. Now that's a lot of money. Is it worth this much money? Well, that's up to what you're looking for. It's not the most high-tech or best performing car in its class, but it's one of the few that does old luxury right.